What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of For the Life of Me podcast. I am here with two of my friends that I love dearly. They help me with all of my content. They put up with all of my stuff. So you have Asia, which you hear often behind the camera. And then you have Mickey, who I've been friends since high school. And she does some behind the scenes footage for me as well. But I'm going to let them introduce themselves and their business. Go ahead.
Moi?
Yes.
Alright. Name's Asia. Business-wise, I do anything media, photography, videography, obviously podcast. Personal IG is AYLMEL 3_. Business is AYLMEL Media.
Yes.
Hi guys, what's up?
Oh man.
My name is Mickey and my business is Only the Good Things. I am a videographer at heart, but I am also a photographer. So I have a podcast with my co-host, which is The Good and Terrible Show, and that
Shout out to Trav.
The Trav. That's on YouTube. I am a lover of anything visual and colorful. So videography is my first love, but photography is right there.
That's the cousin.
That's the cousin.
So we've talked about business and stuff. How did you come to this? Because preference, I've known both of them for a very, very long time. We don't need to say how
Not too
long
long.
because we're young.
Yeah, we're like 25.
About 17 years.
Yeah, 25.
Anyway, the lies. So how did you come to this conclusion? Because I feel like on this like just our friendship journey, we had looked at a couple of different things, but like when you decided to do photography, I was like, yes. Like it just was like, yes, that's
It's
it.
about time. Yeah. For me, it was more so like accepting the talent, not trying to boast, but the talent that I already.
Boasting it. It's okay.
No, I have talent.
No, because we'll get into that, the imposter syndrome and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Boasting doesn't because even Jesus understood who he was. Like
He did.
he
But he was that boy though.
He was that boy,
Jesus was that
but
boy.
because he's that boy, that makes us that
You're
girl.
right.
You
You're
know
right.
what I'm saying?
You're
So
right.
you embrace your talents because God gave them to you.
Amen. I received that. Take it to heart. When I finally said yes to starting a business, for me it was putting a name to the business. It was like, oh, this is real now.
Yeah.
That's what made it like buying the LLC.
But what made you be like photography is it, videography is it? Just because let me tell y'all something. When we took pictures with phones, the first person we would always ask is Mickey because for whatever reason the camera angles and stuff that she did with the phone was like immaculate. Like that one friend when you out taking pictures, Mick was it.
That don't never get to be in the picture because they take it.
I never, and I'm always like, it's fine, go ahead and like get it. I'm like, nah, I'll stay in the back.
I mean, she was the one that got down. She would climb trees. Like that was her. That she did that.
I definitely was like hitting them angles of like, okay, I'm gonna be on the leg. I would get underneath a tree to get that little leaf to come down. Yeah, I was in it. But I think that doing photography as a business versus just like as a hobby, it's scary. Like doing anything new is a little bit scary because you're like, what if no one hires me? What if nobody wants me to shoot for them because I went to art school, I didn't get my degree. So I always felt like, well, they're not going to hire me. They're going to hire somebody that went to school for this and has a degree.
And so much has changed.
And certified. I was like, they're not going to want me. I'm just this little girl from VA.
So much has changed.
Yes.
Like that's, it don't even
It's-
matter. It's
it's
just like
different
the
now.
experience, the talent. Okay, Asia. Let's hear from you.
What about?
How did you decide that photography was the thing?
I didn't decide anything. I was forced into this life.
Really?
I was forced into this life.
You were pushed into it?
I was told, hey,
Wow.
yo, go buy this camera.
Uh-huh.
I need somebody to take
And
it.
someone took your money and made you go do something with it?
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
That
should be a movie.
I
Sounds like
was
taking
aware
two.
of these things. So
Cause I went to school. I got a degree in psychology, so it's beyond me. Nah, I think honestly, when did I like decide?
Yeah, because I remember you studying stuff on YouTube. And you was like, yeah, I've been kind of looking at cameras and stuff. And like when you get into studying stuff, like you watch endless videos about like how something functions.
So when did I decide to become a photographer? And like that media was my thing. I think we had a conversation a week ago or so that said that like once you know your purpose, you kind of like realize that you've always been doing it or something in it. And I've always been like, I don't remember if like even when we made that video when you were back in your old apartment and it was like to party up. I can't find it. I wish I could. But like if I could find a video, it'd be fire. But I used to do stuff like that. I made goofy little videos that I'd love to just cut and edit. And the reason I bought a camera was for my YouTube channel.
Yes.
And so I think that it was like God was just like, you almost there. That's not what you need the camera for. Like, cause it didn't come to me like, it didn't come easily. So like once like I started seeing that I'm good at taking pictures and I'm good at, editing and certain stuff, it's just like, okay, maybe this is it. Like grabbing other people's stuff is it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when we actually discover our purpose and we pay attention to details, when we look back over our lives, we have always been doing something relative to what God is calling us to. And it may not have fully evolved. Because I think for me, even in shooting this podcast, because I know this is not the extent of it, this is an extension of my purpose, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm never not, if I'm comfortable with you, I'm a talker. I don't mind having like these type of conversations because I just think they're enlightening. I love having these type of conversations. And me and my dad, we talked a lot. Like he would just pull me aside and we could watch a movie and then we would analyze it. Like that's just how,
which is so much fun to do.
That's just our relationship. So I've always been some type of talker. But one of the things that I do remember is somebody telling me in my family that I was shy. Mm-hmm. And that is what shifted everything for me. Because I don't think I was ever shy, especially as a kid. I think I was more reserved and I observed the room before I decided.
Before you spoke.
Yeah,
which is important.
How I was going to.
Because a lot of people don't have that filter of, let me see what's going on.
But when somebody told me that I was shy, it was like I conformed to that.
Yeah.
Because when I actually thought about, I was like, when I think about me being a child, I was in plays. I went out for lead roles. Like I used to make my cousins put on performances for Christmas for my grandmother. And I used to make them watch it.
Oh, wow.
I would put together I would make costumes. No lie. I would put together costumes. We would practice. Wow. We would rehearse. It was a whole thing. And we would perform for my family. So I think when I was younger, I used to want to be an entertainer. Mm-hmm. But then somebody told me I was shy. And then I remember I can't remember which kid star this was, but I was watching an interview of a kid star. And at this time, I was 14. But they said that they had been working on their craft since they were 4 or 5 years old. And so in my head, the devil came in my mind and was just like, well, it's too late. It's too late for you.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be an entertainer, a Disney star. That was always a thought in my mind. But the devil was like, it's too late. You ain't started at 4. You old.
He started at 4.
So in my mind, it's like I'm at 14. I'm already thinking I'm old. I'm too old to start into something, which was clearly far from the truth, right?
Yes, right.
But it's interesting. I've been organizing and connecting people and talents and all of the stuff that I do today my whole entire life.
Yeah,
you just didn't know you were.
I just didn't know.
That's kind of the same for me. Thinking back to like childhood, like going to Chicago every summer or whatever. Yeah. My cousins, 2 of them in particular, like it was like a girl thing at the time, to see like a Destiny Child video or something and then do a dance to it. Mm-hmm. And I can always just like, yo, no, you need to stand here, like you need to be there, and like I would shoot it. You know what I'm saying? So it was always like because I don't mind being in front of the camera. I felt like that's why I didn't mind starting a YouTube channel. However, not saying that everything that you're supposed to do comes easily, but it didn't click how it was supposed to. So I just don't feel like I have the right content yet. I'm not gonna say
I always
I'm
feel
not
like
supposed to do
you
it.
and Mama Lynn should do a channel together.
It would be hilarious, like even
let me
just
tell
one
y'all,
day, baby.
Hilarious.
Miss Lynn and Asia in the same space. They,
You know what
I don't
it
know.
is?
They just.
You know what? We don't wear clothes enough
I need
in order to
clothes,
shoot.
though.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Shout out
Because
to
you
Miss
in comfy
Lynn.
time, you're not
we
like
be comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely comfortable, but they are absolutely hilarious together. I
Yeah.
have so many videos
Without
of
trying.
I had videos of like just being in Miss Lynn room and we all in there just dumb stuff.
even on
Going
FaceTime.
on.
When you, I was like, where your mama at? She right here.
She in there.
It's a 5-minute like,
Of nothing.
You
yeah, girl, I was in there. I
I'm
was in
always-
And
there.
I encourage every time if we on FaceTime, I encourage. I be like, yes, come on, and she just go right there,
And
and,
I
then
she's
she's
a shot at
and she's like, that's it, that's
Yeah.
it.
You be like, all right, that's enough. Like,
Yeah,
we
no.
having fun.
Nah,
Asia be like, nah, she good. She doing too
She
much.
straight, and she
Yeah.
because y'all don't understand. After the camera, after y'all see her, it's my back hurt. Oh, I
Yes,
wonder
when
why.
I sent her that,
I wonder why.
When I sent her that playlist, we had a whole thing on
What you
FaceTime.
remember?
My
I
Lord.
remember.
Oh yeah,
It was
yeah.
it was just like a song around the world or
Yup.
something like that.
And so
And they was
it
doing like all these throwbacks. I was like,
Yeah.
Miss Lynn, did you see this? I said,
And my dumb self
I said, show this
took
to
the
your
FaceTime
mama.
in there the whole.
So the video probably was like 25 minutes. So we all on FaceTime vibing.
Yeah.
It was like,
Ma'am.
so y'all.
You know, it'd be even funnier. Your mom and my mom. That's
Oh my
that's
God.
gold.
That would be hilarious.
That's gold.
Because Miss Street
Because
is
them
fun,
joints
too.
together. Oh my gosh.
When they get together, I mean, I love to see it though, because it's just like my mom is goofy and she's joyous, and so I just feel like
And she's funny.
when her and Miss Lynn get into a room together,
Oh,
they
yeah.
just
You put some old school tunes on.
yeah, they just open up, they themselves, they like to have a good time.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
and
sure.
give them a glass of wine and it's over.
Just
It's
one
like,
glass of
oh.
wine.
Just one glass?
Just one
I
glass.
feel like it would take like 2 to make
No,
them warm
no,
up.
no.
Okay.
They don't need the wine, but if you give them
It's
one
gonna
glass,
put them up to that next
escalate.
level.
my goodness,
That's why we trying to keep y'all
away
like,
from brunch.
just keep y'all some water.
Yeah, we took them to that bottomless mimosa. Oh, it was such a wreck,
That's
bro.
right.
It was such a wreck. We had a reservation and it was overpacked.
Yes, and
so then-
shout out to Dondra and Miss Griston, her mom. It just was all downhill. from
Yeah,
there.
because they were still
Yeah.
serving the bottomless mimosas to them before we could sit down and eat. So they're already
Yes,
drinking.
because it was Mother's
okay.
Day, so
Right.
they were backed up.
Yeah,
It was
because
a thing.
everybody goes out.
But we had reservations, so in my
Exactly.
mind, it's just like we should have been able to sit.
I should have
So think about how that angry mother. We had reservation. Ooh.
So to calm
You
the
gotta say
room-
the key word.
So to calm the room,
Mothers are gonna be
they
like-
are bringing trays of bellinis
Yup,
and
for sure.
orange juice and all types of not orange juice, but mimosas to
Yeah.
people. And
And y'all have not
we
taken
listen.
it.
So here's the thing: we look up, they in the corner praying with somebody.
I
I
said,
was like, what is
"Oh,
going
no."
on?
I said,
How did those
"What?"
mimosas to go in this
I don't know. They started talking to somebody, so now they all built up, and we look
They
up.
trading
They
Facebooks.
they
Oh, yeah,
holding
yeah.
hands, they in prayer, and I
Listen.
said,
Listen.
what is going on?
The Lord is everywhere.
And
You
then they
understand?
was loud. So after the prayer, it was like, and you could hear them. So we all over there like
Like we're not
Second-hand
close to
affairs.
them.
Right.
and
not
we're
close to them.
across from them, and we like, y'all,
Then they sat us down to eat.
yes, and it
That
just,
didn't help.
yeah, it was
Sound like I missed
Because they were still behind, so I think dude was bringing us 2 at a time at that point.
yeah,
And I'm
it
just-
was a good time. I'm
It was
not
cool,
gonna
though.
lie,
It was
they had a great time,
Which was the
and-
point. It was the day for them.
And then the bill came and they didn't have to pay that, so that was great.
Oh, because you're a mother.
Yeah.
You did your work.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
the
happens.
children's time,
That's
too.
what happens when you get somewhat successful. We love y'all though, okay? You know.
And I ain't even successful yet enough.
Yeah,
You
it's
are.
great.
But you know,
Great.
anything for the sugar foot. But yes, that's to go back. Yeah, that's even shooting stuff. I was shooting stuff when I was very young, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
So the whole purpose of the Purpose series is to kind of trace back and, like, as we just talked about, to see how God kind of sets us up for what it is that we are destined to do, and to go through process. in order to get to promise is a tricky thing.
Say that word again.
Process.
Woo!
And so I think about process when I think about how God processed me and still is processing me to be like the finished work of who He's called me to be, which is a continuous thing.
Oh yeah.
But that's over a life. That can life. Yeah, it's lifetime.
Yeah.
So when you think about your process to purpose or to this point, what's a word or words that you could use to describe it?
Consistency.
I don't hate the word.
Consistency.
But it is just consistency is
it's a thing.
I'm still working on that and like all the way around the board. Like,
and
you want me to do this all the time? Oh, okay.
And everything.
But see, when I think, okay, so here's the thing. When I think about consistency, I started studying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I used to think about consistency as the same repetitive action.
Mm-hmm.
But consistency really is there's a common goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of your actions are consistent with the end goal. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is the same repetitive action over and over again.
Consistently driving to get
yes.
That's why I wasn't doing it right because
you ain't never really
when I looked up the definition and I started studying it because God was dealing with me about being consistent in an area. And so when I looked at it, He was like, it's really not about you doing the same thing over and over. It's really about you continuously working towards this end goal. Like if this is your end goal, because it uses words like steadfast and so when you think about partnering with God in your process, that means that you're consistently saying yes to Him, and in different situations. But all of these situations are going to lead you to where it is that He's taking you.
Right.
So discipline is is the training, the consistent repetitive action.
To stay on track.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when I was looking at consistency versus discipline, that was one of the things that stood out for me. I said, I've been looking at consistency all wrong. Mm-hmm. And I think it has helped me to understand that every day that my job is to pursue the end goal. Like what is my pursuit of purpose? God, what is it that you are having me to do today? Right. How are we going to navigate?
How am I supposed to get better today?
Yeah. So consistency is a good word. I'm trying to think what my word would be because
I know what mine is.
What is it?
Grace.
That's a good word too.
Mine is grace, and grace would go in hand with sometimes people say dumb luck or blind luck, whatever. But you just like, I'm just gonna test this out. A lot of that is me in the past and right now. But I'm trying to get better at, like you said, being consistent and being disciplined. But the grace that has carried me this far is like, oh, okay, God is really looking out. Because there's been a lot of times I'm like, I'm going to throw this in the air. I don't know if it's going to do anything, but
the flip side, of that,
the
flip side of that of grace is when you say the word grace, what I think about is that every day is not a perfect day. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes you're not going to get everything done. You're not going to, you can make a list at the top of the day, and because of circumstances and whatever, you may only get one thing done. Yep. Or it may be a day where you just like, I'm not feeling it today. I don't want to do
There may be days. It's been days like that.
I just want to watch Netflix.
And weeks, and I've been like, hey,
X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And so,
or you get unmotivated.
That's a real word. But in those situations, you still have to offer yourself grace.
Right.
And so, and some of y'all use grace as an excuse to be lazy, and that's not what I'm talking about. So I think when I think about
grace, out in front of everybody.
When I think about grace, because I think about the times when, like, one of the things that my friend has said to me, Shalette, is she said, you don't give yourself enough credit. Mm-hmm. She said, if you think about where you were 6 months ago and to the person that you are today, she said, you have to take moments throughout the day and throughout the week to say, okay, I got these things done. I
Right.
did that. And like, be grateful for the progress that you did take.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually start to celebrate your wins, then moving forward would look very different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that there are times when I'm just like, on to the next thing.
Right.
All right, I need to get this done. I haven't worked on this in this amount of time, so now we need to do X, Y, and Z. So when she was like, even with me shooting the podcast, she said, "Yo, sis, that's fantastic." She said, "You've been shooting podcasts for the past couple of weekends. Like you put the work in."
Mm-hmm.
And then my other friend was like, "Well, it's great. You already have your first season."
Yes.
There are people who are shooting and don't even know, like they haven't even planned. She said, so the fact that you've planned out your first season and you're shooting them back to back to back, she said there are people who don't know, and that's how like idle time goes by.
Yes.
And so the fact that you've even planned 10 episodes, but in my head it's just like, I should have done more. I'm only doing 10.
No, but just like the comparison to, I should have done more. You think that, but then it's like, not to compare to other people because you don't want to do that. But if you think about where there's so many people that maybe in their, let's say, 80s, 70s, and they're like, man, they look back and go, I could have did more than what I did, or they feel like they left something on the table. You're actually actively saying, I'm going to do these 10 episodes, I'm going to plan this out, and then move one step from there, versus waiting and not doing anything, or even just doing one. And everybody has their own capacity.
Because it's not even like, yes, we're doing these 10, maybe possibly 11.
Right.
We've already discussed.
I feel like
it's going to be more just because it's going to be some part twos. However, on the flip side, it's not like we haven't already discussed the next season.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not like it's
but
not
you going
already in the
into
works.
it already built. It's,
Right.
It's like planting a seed, but the seed is already sprouting, and you're just adding, more roots to it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's great, because some people never get to plant the seed, and they just like, I got an idea, but they don't do anything with it. To get up and do something with it, that's the part that's hard.
Yeah.
It can be hard if you let it, sit and you don't do anything with it.
I think I've gotten to this place in my journey where I tell people this, I don't want to leave anything on the table. I don't even want to leave the table.
Yeah.
Like I want
everything.
I want to leave nothing behind. Like take the table, the crumbs, everything, because it's out there for you. The things that you desire is possible. Like when I think before, I used to look at Beyonce and just certain people as like these golden gooses. Like this is a once in a lifetime thing. This is not something that's achievable. But the other day, I was in my house, and I did this conference with Lola. I can't remember her name. Shout out to Lola though. She did a Women of Wealth conference, and it was basically about women doing godly business, but also understanding that God has empowered us to get wealth. So it's not a bad thing, and we can do it, and we can accomplish these things that God has placed on the inside of us. There is a reason for it. But I was on Clubhouse with listening to I don't want to cry. I was listening to the first Black woman billionaire.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I was boo-hooing in my home, and I was like, and I didn't expect to cry. No,
oh, okay.
I was boo-hooing for the fact that I'm literally sitting in a room listening to a billionaire pour into me. Who would have thought me would be able to sit in a room and listen to somebody
with this
who I could have never, just to have access
to bump in, it's like
to
to
somebody,
bump into this person on the street randomly is like,
it just blew my mind, because I'm like, a few years ago I would have never thought that I would have been able to sit in a room with a billionaire, a Black woman billionaire at that, who loves God and is pouring wisdom and knowledge into me. So it made me emotional, because it was like, I'm in the room.
Yeah.
I'm in the room. And it's like, I'm not a billionaire by far. It's coming.
It's coming. Not yet.
Yeah, I'm not a billionaire yet, but it's coming. And so what it made me think is, God, why do you think this much of me? That you allowed me access
and he's
to
like,
be in the
why
room.
not?
Yeah, to be in the room with a black woman billionaire. Not only that, like she was a billionaire, but there was also people in the room who were millionaires.
Right.
So now in this creative space of women or people who are doing it, and it's just like, oh my God.
And they're giving you the information that they might have gotten, or they, along the way. Because I feel like sometimes people think, oh well, if you're not at this point of success, you can't. Like you said, billionaires. Not to cut you. I know I don't even jump on top of you, but millionaires and billionaires. You hear that word, you're like, oh, they got it made. But in their minds, they might feel how you felt about having 10 episodes in the pocket. They might be like, man, I made $1 billion this year. I could have made 5.
Right.
They might feel like underachievers, but we're looking at them like, y'all got it made. But the steps that they had to take to get to that point, nobody sees the behind the scenes of, how many times they had to fail, or how many times they lost money. Because if you're a billionaire, you've probably lost more.
You've lost money.
Yes, you have to. That's just how it works.
I think that the blessing of being in that conference was also the fact that you got to see how their mindset shifted. So to be, not even just to be a millionaire, but just to be successful, your mindset is different. It's not the same. And just like we talked about in a different episode, you're overcoming learned behavior that may not necessarily have been correct.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like our parents came from a place of survival.
And their parents came from a place of survival.
Yeah, and so I'm grateful that they did what they did, because their survival allowed me to do what I'm doing today.
Right.
And so now it's different because we have access to more information, and I say that, but a lot of this information that people be hyped off of is Bible. It is Bible.
It's just regurgitating into something else.
It's just given to you in a more palatable way, but it's Bible. Like Deuteronomy 8:18, God has given us the power to get wealth. He's never told us that we had to be broke.
No.
He said,
what does he want you to be?
In Psalms, he said, wealth and riches are in your house. Like, if we actually study the Bible, it's biblical.
Right.
Entrepreneurship, it's in the Bible.
Managing your money is in the Bible. That was one of the first lessons I learned. Being a good steward.
Bible.
Yes.
And so being a good steward, it's there. Even with this business, it's not mine. It's God's.
Right.
Me shooting this podcast, it's not mine. It's
God's.
It's me doing exactly what it is that He told me to do. The ideas that He has placed on the inside of me. And so the purpose, that's what I wanted to accomplish with the Purpose series. I really wanted to show people that I know who are working in their purpose, but really just to show, like, it's not of a respective person. If you're here, then God has placed something on the inside of you that is needed right now.
Right.
You still have breath in your body. That means that He has placed a purpose on the inside of you that He needs to get out of you. What inspires you?
What inspires me?
Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead, Mick.
No.
Go ahead.
Tacos inspire me, like, every time I see.
I don't think that's
anything with cheese is like, yeah. No, what inspires me? That's a good question. The first thing I can think of is my ancestors, and that will go back, like, my parents. Well, they're not my ancestors, sorry. The people that came before me. So grandparents, great-grandparents, which of course I met them, but when you're going far back in the lineage of Black people as a whole, all the things that they had to overcome to just get by, and they didn't have the opportunities that we have presently with internet. And I can walk into a restaurant full of people that don't look like me, and 9 times out of 10 I'm not going to get shunned. You know what I mean? It's not perfect right now, but just the racial tension that they had to deal with, the segregation, the abuse, the rape, all of the different things. We're at a different place now. We're still working on it. But what inspires me is like, if they could go through that, I can study my camera more often.
Yeah.
Like, God is he's not really putting a lot on me. He's like, we got it pretty easy when you think about what they came from. That inspires me. The second thing would be to get out of the comfort zone of being afraid to succeed.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to fail. I know that sounds crazy. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm afraid to succeed because a lot of times I feel like I don't deserve to succeed.
Why?
Yeah, it's a loaded question.
Because
it's a lot of stuff. No, I'm not. Don't put me on the couch. I think a part of it is because I compare my work ethic with other people's, and it's not necessarily.
I gotta think. Okay.
It's not necessarily that they may work harder than me. A lot of people work hard. Beyonce works harder than all of us.
Does she?
Oh yeah. Her work ethic is like she's an alien because there's the things that she does.
Oh, she's absolutely.
She's amazing and she works super hard.
Yes.
For her, but I don't know that it for her. Not to say that it's not work, but I feel like because it's in her element.
Yes.
It's like it's a thing.
She's in
However, when you talk about work ethic, right? What I think about the culture of today, nothing in the Bible talks about hustling hard. The Bible talks about grace and favor. So, yes, I do not take for granted the access that God has granted me that somebody may have grinded for that I didn't necessarily have to grind for because I was just obedient to what God told me to do.
Right.
And so I feel like I have a God advantage, if that makes sense. And for some people watching it, they probably be like, girl. But no, I firmly believe that because I consult God, because I have Holy Spirit, I always feel like I have an advantage because I'm praying and that doesn't mean it's not perfect. That doesn't mean that it doesn't require work. It
doesn't mean that it's a fail-safe that everything will always work.
Yeah, it doesn't mean any of those things. But I don't feel like I have to compare how I got to a place versus how because honestly everybody's journey is different.
Right.
Everybody's journey is their own. But I don't want people to get wrapped up in I ain't worked hard enough for this, so I don't deserve it. No, you deserve it because God wanted you to be there. There's a particular reason why God placed you in this particular industry. There's a reason why He allowed you to navigate through a particular door, or why your name was spoken in a room that you've never entered. Like that, because that's who God is.
Right.
And I think the way that God achieves miracles is through people, and He has shifted how He does miracles because miracles today are not the same as they were back then. We're not necessarily part of the Red Sea.
No.
But hey, listen. But He's out here doing things, so I don't want you to discount your success based off of the fact that you feel like you didn't work hard enough for it because you are putting in the work.
But I think it comes back to the how we talked about discipline and consistency. It's like, did I really deserve that, or did God just go, I'm gonna throw you a bone? And a lot of times I feel I get thrown a bone of grace, and it's not to say that, like you said, everybody gets grace, but at the same time, if I feel like, man, how did I get this, but this person, has been doing it 20, like, that's not, I feel like it's not fair, where it's like, it shouldn't necessarily be that way, because everybody's journey, like you said, is different. So I'm like, but it's an uphill journey. I'm aware of it more so now, so I try not to let it cripple me, but at times it's like, I don't know if I'm really supposed to be.
You're supposed to be there because God wants you there. I just believe that God, like, He didn't place this purpose on the inside of you for nothing. Yeah. It's the same thing for me. Like, I didn't necessarily want a podcast because it was like, there's so many people podcasting. So what am I bringing?
And that will make you go, I don't need it. And it's like, you do need it.
What am I bringing? Like,
because how many podcasts do you watch? I watch tons of them.
I do. Well, I don't watch a lot of podcasts. There are specific groups of people that I watch that I find interesting. And
but it's more than one is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And so, but what I've also learned is some of the podcasts that I subscribed to last year haven't done any episodes this year. Or in years.
Yeah.
And not just that, it's just like, because God called me to it, there's an audience for me.
Yes.
Right.
And one of the things that I heard somebody say, she was like, an audience of one is still an audience.
Yes, it is.
So if I minister to one person through this podcast, I've done what I'm supposed to do.
You did your job.
Like if I get one person to be like, yeah, you know, I should rededicate my life to God. Yeah, or that resonated with me, or I should shift this, that's dope. Or you feel connected, because I think even with some of the earlier episodes that we did, we found out that a lot of us had more in common as it relates, you know what I'm saying, to certain situations than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the opportunity to have the conversation. Asia.
See,
What inspires you?
me.
Yes, what inspired
Me.
you? What keeps you?
You
Who
right
inspired
here.
you?
I inspired you.
Okay.
Oh, you inspire
I
yourself.
inspire
So on
myself.
that note, we are going to
Nah, honestly, number one, the thing that kept coming to mind was like not wanting to fall behind from y'all, for real. If like we're being honest, like from our friend group, like the way that like you know she not like the way that y'all are set up, it's just like y'all are in a place where y'all have kind of like forced me to grow up faster. I think in a way y'all didn't let me get my party years out yet. I'm still young.
You can party.
Nah,
There's an age gap between us. We don't need to go into.
It's a couple of years. It's a few.
You know,
It's a few
about
centimeters. It's a few centimeters
anyway,
of time.
You know what I'm saying?
Centimeters, not inches.
But not like just not wanting to fall behind from y'all, as well as I'm big on anybody having to practice what they preach, and I want to inspire other people.
Yeah.
And so I want to show up and show out in that way, so that they're just like, oh, okay. Because like, who wants to take something from somebody that's like, you ain't doing nothing yourself? That's how I am. I'm like, you're not. You can't
The
tell.
other part to that for you is grace. Like there's grace. You have. I think the other thing is sometimes we feel like we don't got no time. We be like, yo, I'm gonna die tomorrow, sis. You gonna be okay. Sometimes. But I know, and there have been times when I think like I've thought like that. When I'm like, dang, I ain't married yet. My husband, shout out to my husband. I know he's watching. I know
we gonna see
that,
you out there.
you know, we're gonna get together really, really soon.
We're gonna go out for tacos.
I know that God is grooming you.
You better like tacos, nigga.
Better like tacos.
And so, yes, whoever you are, amen, your girl.
Amen.
Young man.
Young man.
That's a continuation.
Just wanted to be that person for other people to look up to, and wanting to do more than what my people have done already.
Yeah.
So
I think so. For me, what inspires me is, one of the things that really motivate me is that I really want to show my siblings that it's possible.
yeah.
I really want them. Like I didn't realize how rare it was that people, like all of the siblings, like when me and my siblings come together on both sides, we have a great time. Like we like each other. We love. Now we don't like each other all the time,
Right.
but 99.
You're not going to like each other.
99.9. You know what I'm saying?
But if something happens, everybody gonna ride.
It's a wrap.
You mess with one, you mess with all of them.
Like when we get together, we have so much fun. We love each other. And so one of the things with being the oldest, or not really my stepsister is the oldest, but I don't even consider her my stepsister. Like she's my sister.
Yeah.
So, but being close to that, you know, being in that role, I just want, but that's for anybody around me. I want everybody to know that they can do whatever it is.
And she tells us that all the time.
Yeah, whatever it is that God has placed on the inside of them. And so I don't want to just be a person to tell you that. I want to show you that just saying yes to God changes everything. And so like that's my biggest inspiration. And I also think that there are people who spoke life to me, and I feel like if I don't continue, then I'm dishonoring what they saw in me. Like you saw something on the inside of me, so I need to like if you saw it, There's some I need to examine that. So my biggest inspiration is to make sure that my siblings can see that they can do it, because they're so talented, they're so smart, and I want more for them than I think they actually realize. So that's one of my biggest things. But the other thing is I don't want to fail God. He has done so much for me. He has kept me. He has healed me. He had all of the things. And so it's like, you sacrificed your son's life for me.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
your only son.
Only son. So it's like, I can do this. I can get outside of my comfort zone to do what it is that you call me to do, to show people. I want people to experience the same type of relationship that I have with God. I want people to experience the same type of love that I have. So if it's just as simple as me sitting here talking to y'all and on this camera, or me writing my blog post, or me creating whatever it is that he's put on the inside of me to create, or opening a clothing store, like those are the things. And so sometimes when I used to look at those things, I'm thinking it's stuff that I have to work and accomplish. There is work that I have to do. I have to partner with him. Of course. But the stuff that God has given me, I'm stewarding it. Like this is not my platform.
You just babysitting and going, look.
Yeah, it's not my platform. It's
right.
not my it's God's. So in that, it's just like I gotta be responsible in the fact that I can steward his stuff well. That I can steward the position that he gave me well.
Because then he will entrust you with more.
Yes, and then the flip side of that, because I think people, when they take that, it's just, I gotta steward God's stuff, but also, it's like he's not leaving you by yourself.
Right.
Even in the stewarding, he's going to give you instruction. He's
right.
going to be there when you feel like you are struggling with something. Like, he's there. We just have to be vulnerable enough to say, okay, God, listen,
I need your help.
I'm struggling.
Right.
I need help.
And that's not always easy to even ask God for. Sometimes
that vulnerability.
I don't want to bother you, Lord, because I know you got prayers to answer.
But here's the thing. He wants you to bother him.
emails. I'm like, you busy. I would talk to you.
He wants you to bother him.
Yeah. And it's not bothering him, because this is what he wants.
Yeah. So my final question is, how, I know we just kind of talked about God, but how have you seen God show up in your purpose?
Nikki.
I gotta think about it. There's a lot of different. Okay, I have one on top of my head. What was my first shoot before I bought my camera was actually when we did this shoot at Fort Hunt Park, and that was like, when I saw the pictures, I was like, wow, that's really cool. I did that. That's dope. And then it was like scary, because I'm like, oh, I really did this. And I got scared because I'm like, you should, that like you said, how God's like, hey, I'm giving you this has a purpose in it. But it was that, and also too, when I got my first client, I'm trying to think, and it's so sad, I don't remember. I know all my clients, but I can't remember who the first one was. That first official booking, when the deposit hit, I was like, oh, this is real. And I was scared, because I was like, nobody's gonna hire. All the thoughts come, nobody's gonna hire me because I don't have a degree, I don't have a fancy website at that time, and I didn't have a lot of work to show. It was just like, you know, I was doing stuff. My cousin has a clothing line. Shout out to my cousin Glenn and Off of Us. Yeah, my cousin helped me so much, because I was able to practice my craft with him and being his photographer for his clothing brand. But also too, all of those things was like God, like, hey, you have people around you that are doing different things. They're gonna need you. I didn't realize they would choose me, because there's thousands of photographers in the DMV area. Like, I want anybody to choose me. Those times of getting booked, and also people referring people to me, like, oh yeah, I gave your number out. And I'm like, they want to talk. You trust me with this?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. That was big. Like, oh, God is really moving this. Even in 2020, like, I had, I think I had 2 or 3 shoots that year. But I was for sure like, nobody's gonna do a photo shoot during the pandemic. Lies.
Yeah.
I was masked up, gloves on, doing shoots. Still doing shoots like that now.
For sure. Tell me the question again. So that I answer it the right way. Because I haven't answered. I just want to make sure. How's God showed up in your purpose? I think so. I've talked to you before about like struggling to hear from God and like knowing that it's God and not just me giving myself whatever. I think like back in March, like he was just like, when you show me you serious, I'll show you I'm serious. Cause I kept questioning. I'm like, yo, like if I make this LLC, bro, and like and stuff,
don't nothing happen.
Right, I'm gonna be real tight.
That's what
I spent this
like,
bread,
I spent this money,
and I did if I do everything by the book and like nothing hits, and I'm gonna say something. Just someone kept saying it. When you show me you serious, I'll show you I'm serious. And I know it was God. And so like as soon as I did the LLC and stuff started popping off, and I really started feeling accomplished when I got shoots without people around me, if that makes sense. Because it's one thing, I know for sure she's going to hold me down.
Always.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know. But, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know, like, our circle is always going to hold me down. Or I know, like, my family, them niggas trying to get over, but, like...
They'll book.
Yeah, they gonna get you in.
And so, when it was somebody that, like, I don't have a personal relationship with,
that you don't really know,
that I don't know for real. Once I started getting those, I was just like, yo, I get it, man. And like I know I'm stressed about other stuff as far as business right now, but it's just like, just keep showing it that I'm serious about it, and like, we be at it.
I have another one too. Just seeing and I know Asia probably will feel the same way. Seeing the finished product of some of my work, I'm like, how the heck? You sure I showed this?
I be the opposite though. Really? Like when I shoot it and I go back real quick just to look, I'm like, yo, I'm fired. Like I say, like if I'm around y'all that down,
when I send y'all stuff, like I send y'all stuff on purpose. Like when I when Shalette finished her business cards, or like when people do certain stuff, I send it because I always want y'all to understand that like it's not just taking pictures.
I ain't even gonna hold you though. Like even in that moment, I was like, oh, these are heat. I was just like, I said, Mickey's fired. I was just like, my fix wasn't good enough. Hey, in my head, this is no. This is just like I went back and I was like, these joints was too.
Our pictures look identical. You
honestly, that's
that super photographer.
That's
shot.
Just like
it's consistent.
That's like the devil, like
trying to take
it because I know those.
Try to compare it.
It's just like you know your pictures. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I took pictures of her.
My pics were fire.
And we did that. The time frame that we did it
great.
Within that short time frame,
it was.
Remember, I was like, I don't know. I think I told you.
Oh, I was on
Asia. I don't know if I can do it.
I was on E, bro, cause I was on everything. I knew I had to be the photographer.
But before we were in the planning process, well, actually, like, we have 2 hours, and I was like, boom.
And so it's just like, dang, that sound like no, we gonna make it work.
Yeah, Asia was confident. I was like,
it's like we gonna make it work. Like I ain't even worried about that.
So what they're talking about is we did
we gonna get it done.
We gonna do it.
We did a photo shoot with a ministry. Well, it's not
with the Rangers.
Yes, we call ourselves the Rangers. You'll meet them in a different episode. But we did a photo shoot because the photo shoot was not only. I think the photo shoot was so purposeful because it was to push everybody.
Yeah.
Not just the people taking the pictures, but also the people posing for the pictures, and even myself. So I also style people on the side. Now
she has on the side.
She is a stylist. She's
a stylist.
Packages.
Yeah.
The website is coming.
Yeah.
So I style people, right? Yeah. So for this particular photo shoot, they asked me to style them, and so I'm like,
she did an excellent.
This was a lot. So I literally had to style 3 people, including myself, because the purpose of
and jewelry and everything.
The purpose of the photo shoot was to basically do like a branding shoot so that we could do these brand shoots, so that we could do headshots, because we were at this place in our lives where we was like, we gotta get serious about what God told us to do. We need to do something to push ourselves over. So somebody suggested a photo shoot. I said, okay, if y'all serious, we'll do it. So I set up everything. I did the styling. I talked to Asya and Mickey, and we started planning about location. I told them what my vision was. So we started scouting stuff out. We started coming up with ideas. Because of the location that we picked, it was pricey, so I didn't want to spend over a certain amount of money. So I wanted to do it within a certain time. I was like, okay, we can do this in 2 hours. It's achievable. So we scouted the location, picked the location out. We planned out the different type of shoots for the different things that we were going to do. And it challenged me in a way because this was something I had never done before. But it was in my element. Because even right before that, I almost quit. I was like, listen, we don't have to do this. I'm good.
Yeah.
But it was good. And it came out, like the pictures came out fantastic. Like we got great shots. And it just kind of, it pepped us up. Because what it is, because God uses everything, it showed us that we could do something like this. Like it was a big shoot, it was well organized, it was like it challenged us immensely.
Yes,
because we all had like, they were on a rotation schedule. You gonna shoot these people, you gonna shoot these people,
and that schedule got
and then we had to, the schedule got messed up.
We had a whole plan. It was like,
but it still came out good. We still was able to get every shot.
Because we worked well together.
Yeah, we still was able to get every shot, everything that we needed, and we were able, and we got out on time.
5 minutes early.
We were walking out the door.
We started 45 minutes late. And
we had time to pray, pack up, do a quick, hey guys, good job, and then we exited the building. It was like,
I don't think you understand. I was just like, all right, y'all.
You was counting
y'all
down.
still got another outfit, and we only got.
So it was a thing, but I think God uses those things to show us what's on the inside of us, to show us what we're capable
that you can
of,
do it.
that we can do.
I need a left-handed camera. Sorry.
That might be a thing that
Siri,
you can work. Hey, Kenan.
That just clicked in my head. Because I should be able to go like this.
Your trigger should be on the
left-handed camera. Shout out to Kenan.
But it definitely showed, like you said, you can do this.
It stretched us.
Oh, yeah.
So,
a lot of sweat.
Oh, my back was
absolutely
wet.
Yeah.
That's why I wore black.
It was great. It was great. And so I send them, like, when my friends are doing, like, you know, when they do business cards or promo or anything with any of the pictures that they've taken, I always send it to them to show them that, like, you're not just taking pictures. Right. You're helping people build brands. Like, it's bigger than you just giving them a picture. Like, it is a whole thing. So, even when you think about your purpose or whatever it is that God has called you to do, not oftentimes, it's bigger than you. That's point blank period. It's bigger than you. Your purpose, your thing that God gave you is an answered prayer to somebody else. And so you have to look at it like that. That's why it's so important that you pursue it. That's why you're here. So with that being said, we are going to close out the podcast. I pray that you got something out of this. And if we said one thing that you could take away to make your life better, then we did our job. Thank you. Peace out.
Goodbye.